be an assessor.
Hi, welcome to So You Want to Be an Assessor.
I'm your host, Kaitlyn Reeder, and joined by my other co-host,
Mei Beth Shepherd. So we are very glad you're here. We're excited to get this started. We have several things to talk about today. Lots of ideas for people that want to be an assessor, or maybe they're warnings. It's fun and games until it's not.
True.
Yeah.
And just to address the elephant in the room, we are in a hotel.
Yes, we are doing an assessment, strangely enough, this week. And so we are using this time to put together another episode of So You Want to Be an Assessor.
Just, while we're here.
While we're here, why not? So here we go. What topics do we have today?
Well, I don't know about you, but I sure had some travel troubles on my way over here.
You had some. Why don't you tell us some of the warnings and troubles that you ran into?
Absolutely. So, weather is a thing when you are traveling. And, they always say, weather is going to determine, your plane rides and, how long things actually take. This time around, we got diverted to go around a storm to make it, less bumpy. Not that I could tell while we were on the flight. It was still very, very bumpy. But it took us an extra 30 minutes, which meant I had no layover. So as soon as I walked off one plane, I ran and walked immediately onto the next one, which was a super fun cardio experience for me, someone who, historically loves to run.
That was sarcasm. In case you couldn't tell. But yeah, that's true. We're currently in Texas, and I started in Texas and decided to fly instead of driving because it is a drivable distance, but I didn't want to drive by myself and in the rain and all that sort of stuff. So I flew as well, but the flights were delayed because of all the storms. And even though it was only a 33-minute flight, I think there were 3 of those 33 minutes that were not very bumpy. It was crazy.
Yeah, something I learned. Ground crews, the people who take the luggage on and off the plane, as well as walk anything that needs to be walked, on occasion,
right, gate check stuff,
checks.
and guiding planes in and out, right?
Yes,
they
all of those
do all of that
ground
stuff.
personnel. They are not allowed to be out on the runway at all if there is lightning within a certain radius.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's a safety hazard, which.
I'm glad that somebody has thought that through and decided that that's a safety hazard for them.
Absolutely, because
yeah.
I've been grounded before because there's just too much lightning. No rain, just lots and lots of lightning, and so we've been delayed because they couldn't get ground crew out there.
Yeah,
which is never any fun.
No,
never any fun.
No.
Another weird weather incident, and this is not actually to do with weird weather, but the way the planes are made. So. On the strip of the wing, my goodness.
Wing versus ring. I was going, what ring are we talking about? I'm very confused.
My rings?
Yeah, you have very lovely rings.
Oh, thank you. I've got several on right now.
Yeah, you do. You've got, I'm only doing the one.
You're only doing the one. I've got, well, this one's 3, this one's 1, the one.
Anyway.
So, on the wings and around the engines, they have this very special part that apparently heats up so that way there's no ice buildup because it's getting the brunt of the wind. So ice buildup will slow down the plane. It'll cause a lot of problems. And if you get the ice in the engine, it can cause even bigger problems. Well, I happened to be sitting exit row when a pilot came on and said, hey, those things that you don't think are, anything? They're just the shiny bits that you see
on the wings.
If you look out the window, they're not there. We lost them on the way here. And they have a function. They actually do things, and because they were unable to keep from de-icing, we had to get special clearance to fly lower where the ice wouldn't build up. And so we were delayed for like 2 hours trying to get this special clearance so that we can get to our destination, one, slower, and also
lower.
It was so weird. I've learned so much about traveling.
Yeah, plane travel. It's a very different thing.
It is.
It was kind of fun during COVID, actually.
Yeah?
Because nobody else was on the planes. It was wonderful. Now the planes are really being full most of the time, and so they're not as much fun when you have to sit like this and you don't. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, being what is it? Stuck like sardines.
Stuck like sardines is
it's
one
not
option,
fun.
but yeah.
Everyone wants a little bit of breathing room, but unfortunately, it's not how it is anymore.
No. Occasionally, there is a lucky flight that only has 20 people on it.
Yep.
But that won't happen for very long because the airlines are cutting those flights out. Anyway, so
that's just a little bit of my travel fun. This time
this
around.
week, and we hadn't gotten home yet, so there could be more. But for now, that's what we have to share.
So switching topics a little bit, have you had any troubles in labs recently?
Let's see, problems in labs.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have.
Personnel or unique findings or clever ways of organizing your documents?
I don't know. The last lab we were in did not organize their documents at all. They didn't have
an organization.
Yeah, they had no organization. And
which is an organization choice.
It is. It's not a good choice. Yeah, it's kind of like for quality managers, you almost need somebody who's OCD.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost a job qualification.
It really helps, for sure.
Yeah, I kind of, some of the best quality managers have been people that are very OCD and they can't deal with something being out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's a story. We were in a lab where they were trying to write their corrective actions for their state assessment, which is great, and we were there as consultants, and so we were helping them write their corrective actions that another assessor, a friend assessor, had found, and so they were putting so much effort into this, OCD-ness to the max. I mean, we're talking, they printed 3 copies of their corrective action form and handed them to us to look at and review to say, are these words okay? Is this okay? And I'm going, my guess is the AB is going to spend a lot less time looking at these words than you spent writing them. Multiple days, weeks, I think.
Almost a month if they're coming up on their deadline.
Yeah. So, because they started working on the corrective actions when they got the report, which is good. Great. Good idea. Because you get 30 days. And so they're on day 29. And I'm like, oh, just send them. Just please send them. Put everybody out of your misery. But someone who's OCD, that is definitely got a place in laboratories.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that attention to detail, that has a place in laboratories.
It does.
There are good things that come out of that, but there are also times when the as OCD people, because I consider myself an OCD person, not as OCD, but I like things in an order and all that sort of stuff. But so I can see doing. I would be driven batty by this person. I don't know that I could do it. I just couldn't do
You
it.
couldn't work for them even though you are working for them?
Yeah, I'm going home at the end of the week. I am not working for them forever. Yeah. So, okay, there's that happened. I don't know. Do you have any such stories that you would like to share?
I was recently in a lab that kind of had the opposite problem.
Uh-huh.
There were papers stacked on every available flat surface.
Oh.
And while it was truly chaotic and anything that I asked for, I was surprised the gentleman could go and find it in his stack. He was like, oh yeah, it should be this one. And like out of his random stack of folders be like, here you go. And it was the thing I was looking for. I was like, you know, there's a filing cabinet that does this way better.
That other people might be able to use.
Yeah. Everyone who needed anything would come to him because there were stacks on stacks on stacks around the entire laboratory in every single room. And there was no, like, this is the quality. This one's for the machines. This one is for, micro. None of that was happening. They were just sorted, apparently randomly. And he knew where they were.
He knew it.
Yeah.
That's great until that person is not there.
That's kind of what I told him. I said, this is working so well right now.
Yeah.
What if you retire?
Yeah.
What if you win the lottery and leave? What if you're sick one day? What happens then?
Yeah.
These are the little things you got to think about.
Yes. I think that's one of the things that we as assessors do. Is help. I mean, all of the documentation that we are looking for is so that anyone can walk in and say, this is what happened. This is how it's supposed to happen with SOPs. This is how it did happen with the documentation for analyses. And this is how it was reported with the reports. So everything that we're looking for as an assessor is the stuff that proves they're doing what they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that has anything to do with what you were talking about.
I don't know, but
it's an assessor thing.
I do have a question.
Ooh,
because
good.
You mentioned a vocab word that I don't think many people might know unless they are specifically in this industry. You said AB. What does that stand for?
Well, it's the first two letters of the alphabet.
Oh. I knew that, but what does it mean in this context?
Okay, all right. So, yes, AB, accreditation body. So, most of the laboratories that we are in, well, if we are in working for an AB, we're working for an accreditation body, then we are there to assess the laboratory. Are they meeting the requirements of that accreditation body?
And there's different types of accreditation bodies, if I'm remembering correctly. There's the state accreditation bodies.
Yes. So T&I has mostly state accreditation bodies. They also have 3 non-governmental accreditation bodies. But state accreditation bodies are the main ones used by T&I, the NELAC Institute standards.
Mm-hmm. And there's also federal government as an AB body.
Yes. So those are like DOD, DOE accreditation, EPA. It does or has tried to do an accreditation for drinking water. It's never really got off the ground. But so those are federal. Those are across all the states.
Okay.
Those accreditation bodies are part of the ISO signatories, which is more terminology that we may or may not know.
We don't have time for it today.
We don't have time for all that. But anyway, they are they all are international signature authorities. Is what ISO stands. No, it's not.
They're an international standard for sure.
Yeah, but so
But
in our world, DOD, DOE, and are the main federal accreditation bodies. Got to get the right word.
The big ones, and then we have the states. So like Florida Department of Health,
Texas
and
Commission on Environmental Quality,
California ELAP, which I don't know the full acronym for.
Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program, I believe. But Minnesota, so TNI has 13 states that are accreditation bodies for them. California is kind of halfway. There are some other states that will accept TNI accreditation. But the ABs are the states that accept or accredit laboratories to the TNI standards.
And then the last one we mentioned are kind of the third parties. Those are the non-governmental. How many are those?
There are, in the United States, there's 4. There's one in each country.
Huh.
Well,
At
there's
least
often one in each country. Well, most of the countries, like Canada has one, and France has one, and Germany has one. But anyway, I don't know enough details to actually be talking about this, so we'll move on.
All right. So we have the third party ABs, and they also have assessors. So if we're not working for the state, then we could be working for one of them
Right.
to do assessments, to uphold regulations, requirements.
Right.
But they get to write those sometimes.
They can write them, or they can be working. In the case of California, there are accreditation bodies that work for California to allow them to accredit labs to the California regulations and requirements. So
what a fun, happy family.
yeah, there's a lot there.
There is a lot there. Honestly, it could be its own whole video.
I know. We could come up with more on that, but
Yeah.
that's probably enough. If you have questions, then put them below.
Yeah, most people don't have to
we can come up
know
with.
all of that. It's just something that I
know.
I know, we should
I
at
brought
least
up
touch
AB.
on.
Yes,
Yeah.
accreditation body. That is someone who accredits laboratories. In our case,
absolutely.
so yeah.
Okay.
Do you have more questions?
I mean, I
Or more
do.
thoughts?
I have a lot more thoughts, of
I
course.
know,
But I'm worried if I start a new section that this might run long. So how about we end up in this, I don't know, few minutes with, how are you? How's life?
Life is going okay. I've got a father who's 90, and I end up getting to take him to the doctor a lot. But he's doing pretty good. I'm going to the doctor a lot. Yeah, I keep thinking I need to relax and retire. But that hadn't happened yet.
No, not allowed.
It hadn't happened yet. But anyway, so
I still need you
Yeah,
around.
oh, okay. So in general, things are going pretty well. Pretty well. Yeah, I got my master's degree, and so I'm no longer going to school.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud. What is your
know.
master's in?
Oh, darn it. MSCISBA. Master of Science, Computer Information Systems and Data Analytics. I remembered.
That is a really long title.
It is. So we'll have to talk another time about why I got a master's in something that is not environmental science or
Chemistry.
the chemistry, biology, the stuff I do for a living. Yeah, but we'll
leave that.
We'll
for another
leave that
time.
for a different time, because that is part of being an assessor.
It really, really is.
Yes, it's another one of those fun things that nobody tells you when you become an assessor.
Tune in next time.
That's right. That's right. We'll have to go on.
We'll have to go on.
All right.
Well,
and what about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm fixing up a house that my husband and I just bought and moved into.
I know.
It's finally warm outside, so we're getting a garden in, and
Yes.
I'm very excited to have all my own produce, so I can just go outside and figure out what I'm going to eat for the day.
Oh, how cool. How cool is that?
I'm very excited.
Yes.
Hopefully everything survives. I still don't quite know what growing region we're in. Growing zone?
growing zone.
I don't know, whatever they call it on the
Yeah.
back of the seed packets. I don't
Yeah.
know which one I'm in, so we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. See what lives and what doesn't.
Exactly.
In my house, nothing lives, so it's okay. I don't have to care what zone I'm in because I'm in zone dead in my house. So, okay.
Well, I think
Thanks
that's
for
all.
tuning in.
Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us while we talk about ABs. That'll probably be the title.
Yeah. Okay.
Find us on all the places where we exist, which right now is YouTube and probably Instagram.
Okay. Great. Yay.
Okay.
Thanks. See you next time.
Bye!
Bye.
Hey, that went well.